Hiya, welcome back to my channel. I always forget to turn my fan off before I start talking to myself, or a camera. Basically, I wanted to do a little video today because I feel like it's now the norm to be speaking very quietly because I've decided I'm embarrassed to talk to myself in my room in front of people that can hear me in my house, and I don't really care if I feel like I was projecting quite a lot when I used to do my videos, where it's really not necessary because the phone picks up quite a lot of noise. So anyway, I wanted to do a bit of a video on letting go of people in a season, because I feel like I'm one of those people, I'm a bit of a clinger, and I really struggled with the concept of letting go of people that are in my life that are not needed for my life anymore. I feel like usually this happens naturally, so that's something that I was lots of waiting for, because I knew that, you know, I don't want to go into like too many details, but I feel like that's okay to let go of people in your life, just because I think I've had a lot of friends that have been really close for a lot of years that I do value a lot of my relationships in my life, which is why I was like struggling with the thought of letting certain people go. But I'm looking forward to my life without, I want to call it a life without a boyfriend rather than calling it being single, because I think single implies being in a relationship and searching for a relationship, whereas I want it to feel like I'm just living my life like no strings attached, because to be honest with you, I've wanted this life for ages, to just be single. And I don't know if there's anyone else like in this position. This is why I'm kind of putting this out. I like kind of enjoy doing this because it lets me get my thoughts off my chest, but it's not like supposed to be like, hey, like, yeah, it's a bit of like, this is what's going on in my life, but I hope this is something that can apply to someone else, because I've seen so many videos recently of people, and I'm not necessarily too bothered about travelling loads. I would like to travel in a few places, but I'm quite a outgoing person around my area anyway. I tend to go to different cities and stuff on my own. But I saw this girl, and she was on a gap year abroad, and I was just like, and she was single, and she was just like living her best life, and I was like, I've literally for so long I've just wanted to be like that, because I feel like I've just been in a lot of relationships, and I've been single for a little bit, but I haven't been single enough to really like come into my own and like be like, I want to be one of those people where I can just come. I love spending time at home now. Ever since lockdown, I love spending time at home. I just want to be at home, like when and like be around my hamsters, or like just go out with my friends and just moderate my time spent with other people, because I've been a bit like, oh, I need to be in a relation, not like I need to be in a relationship, but like I've enjoyed being in a relationship. I've gone backwards and forwards to meet people in relationship after work and everything, but I'm finding this place where I'm just like, I don't need a boyfriend. I can be by myself. Like, I can do stuff by myself. I can grow as a person. And I think there's something really like, not always, I wouldn't say it's limiting to be in a relationship, but I feel like there's things I can explore now more when I'm not in a relationship than maybe when I was. I'm not saying it's not amazing to be completely independent in a relationship. Obviously that's just something to strive for, but at the moment, because it's got to that point, I can do more things. And during this time, I was just I wrote a bit of a list yesterday when I was listening to podcasts again of stuff I want to sort of like work on and talk about. And I'm trying in this period now, not like exclusively, like I'm going to be doing other stuff, but I'm trying to, as I've gotten older, I'm trying to free myself from conditioning I think conditioning is like sometimes good, but I think there's some conditioning that I've internalized other people's opinions and cultural stuff and schooling and, you know, relationship stuff and misogyny and racism, etc. And I feel like it's good to just try and free myself, and like also just like how I'm supposed to societally react to other people, because we're such a PC culture at the moment that like no one ever wants to sort of be like, oh well, that's really rude, like, or, you know, no one wants to be like, oh, that's really nasty, or, you know, I feel like, I mean, you can say that, but I feel like we live in a bit of a PC culture where it's like everything that people say is like okay now. I want to just practice I want to just work for myself more, do a bit of I want to be with the uncomfortable as well. Like, I saw a thing today, I'm going to probably might split this in a couple of videos if I start rambling, but I've watched a video today about this YouTuber that I watch quite a lot, and she was talking about being in the uncomfortable. I feel like it's in the uncomfortable that you grow. Like, I swear, like, no one knew that we were going to go through lockdown this time at the beginning of, like, 2019, or, middle of 2019, or I don't really know, but no one knew at the beginning of 2019 we were going to be in lockdown for the next, like, 2 years. And it's in the uncomfortable times that you go, like, I used to hate being at home. I used to hate being on my own. Like, not being on my own, but I was a bit of an itchy person, so I should really be going out. A bit codependent, basically. And over lockdown, I've realised I actually love it. Like, I've grown to really love it. And it's because it was in an uncomfortable position where I had to be here, And it's in the uncomfortable that you grow. Attachment theory, I don't really want to go into now, but I do want to do some videos on attachment theory because I find them quite interesting. But I won't talk about that now. As I've fetched another video, I just want to go general healing. General healing, and like, because I heard this concept of you can heal from your like internal wounds, but then you can like build a life after you've healed from those wounds. So like, you heal, I feel like, if you know what I mean, like, you can heal stuff because you can't control what you go through as a child without getting too deep and heavy. You can't, I do a lot of videos about this, but you can't control what you go through as a child. But when you resolve issues like that, you then heal from it, and you can build the life you want after you've like healed that, if you know what I mean. And I thought that was like a nice, because it's kind of, I know like life is life and you're always gonna have issues, but like, it's kind of like it's a positive outlook. I feel like it's always going to be better. I've noticed that. I feel like even my age now, I've noticed that life gets better and better because you get smarter. I'm only 23, but I've got only better times to come, I suppose. And they say once you've made a mistake, you kind of learn from your mistakes, sort of thing. Yeah. And on to just like healing from like stuff, like, I've heard that you can like create your childhood experiences in your adult life, like, with various dynamics or whatever, and just like healing from that kind of stuff. One thing I found really interesting in terms of relationships is I saw this Evolution Church video, and if you haven't heard me talk about Evolution Church in the past, it's a online church thing that I watch on YouTube with like 2 million subscribers. I would recommend if you like learning about stuff like that. And there was this quote: you can hold a huge amount of weight if you hold it right and you don't cling on to it and you don't hold it too loose. If you hold it, like, if you ever heard like when you go to the gym and you like do like a pull up and you like sprain a muscle because you're like holding it the wrong way or whatever, like, if you see situations around you, like, sometimes they can damage you. Like, you can get in really toxic relationships, or you could like, I'm not trying to blame anything because I've been in a toxic relationship in the past, and it's so hard like to see what's going on when you're in it. But in terms of like relationships, when I look back in hindsight, at least, if you hold it or see it in a certain way, you can handle it. Like, you don't have to look at a toxic relationship and say they're trying their best to help me when they're not, because that's just going to injure you, because you're going to lie to yourself and you're not going to be handling it in the right way. I'm not saying like toxic relationships are so difficult, and I'm not trying to talk about that right now, but you can't, the fact is, I've realised in relationships as well, you can't change others. You have no control over other people apart from the way you talk to them and how you handle them, but that's more around you than them, really. And you can't change others that aren't in relationship, not in a romantic relationship either, like even your friends, you can't change them. You can, and I think that's why it's so important to have like reciprocal respect in like a friendship, because if you don't want to listen to what they have to say, it's not going to be a good friendship, is it? Like, if you don't, I feel like it's important to be like inspired, and everyone looks for different things in relationships, but for me it's like being inspired by my friends, respect, obviously enjoy spending time with them, but you can't change other people. It's important to realise they've got their own life path and you've got yours, and you just can't, you won't ever be able to change someone. So especially in a romantic relationships, but anywhere, if you think, oh, they'll be great, but as long as they change this, this and this, and it's such an obvious thing, but I feel like people can just get twisted up into situations where they don't even think that way. And another thing that comes along with this, I feel like, is like blaming others for certain situations, especially in toxic stuff or stuff where there's a lot of issues going on from both sides. It's so easy to blame the other person, and sometimes it's just not even worth. I'm noticing, because I'm coming, obviously, I'm saying what I've learned. Obviously, a lot of people probably feel the same way, or whatever, or like not have seen this yet. But my experience is that sometimes you can't, literally, you have to blame others, and you can take responsibility in hindsight, but sometimes you can't work through the things that you because you're obviously blaming someone for a reason. There's obviously something they're doing to make you blame them, and that you're probably doing something to make them blame you. Obviously, always go from yourself. It's always going to be more important what you think than they think. But like, you can't always untangle that, and like sometimes people just don't mix well, and that's just the way it goes. Even if you like certain aspects about them, if it's too much trouble, then it's just not worth being. But it might be worth rethinking that, as it was for me. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that video and go into a separate video for the rest of the stuff, because it's quite a big list. I want to like expand on some stuff. I don't want it to just be like an hour-long ramble video, because most people won't want to watch that. So, or maybe they will, I don't know, but I'm gonna split it up. So stay tuned if you want to see other chit chat.